How much is your business worth right now? And more importantly, what can you do to make your business worth more money? So, look, I've talked to a lot of people. I have a lot of friends that have sold businesses. And even though they're in different industries, they all say exactly the same thing. They all have one commonality. They all wish they would have known the things that would make their business worth more before they tried to sell it. Look, a lot of people I talk to leave 7 or even 8 figures on the table that could have been their retirement. Now they're off doing other things, trying to support themselves because they didn't get the proper valuation for their business. So how do we correct this? How do we get you maximum money for your company? Well, it's simple. First of all, we have to talk about how valuations are determined. Then we need to really dive into all of the things that tie into the valuation so you know what to do to make your company worth more money. And it's exactly what we're going to talk about today. We're going to break down business valuations. We're going to talk about how they work, the different models that are used to evaluate your business. We're going to look at the factors that are used to determine how much your business is worth. Then we're going to talk about a lot of action items or things you could be doing right now to make sure that your business is worth maximum money. Look, if you're like me, your business is your retirement. We're going all in on this, knowing that what we exit for is basically determines our lifestyles for the rest of our lives. So we need to make sure that we are getting maximum value for our company. And in order to do that, we've got to know these factors. So let's dive in and know a little bit more about valuations, how they work, and what you could do to get your business to be worth more money. So look, there's a lot of reasons you want to evaluate your business right now. Okay, you realistically should be looking at evaluation of your business every single year to get a feel for what your business is worth. Now, there's a lot of reasons for this. One is you want to know what it's going to be worth when you sell it. You need to find the right time to sell it. Look, a lot of people, how they had this massive spike of revenue and profit during COVID, then they experienced the COVID drop where it dropped like in half in the years after. If you would have sold at that height, you would have got maximum value, right? But you only know that if you're keeping a track of what your valuation is. So for exiting, it's one of the reasons you want to keep an eye on this. But another reason is because you want to attract investors. Look, there's investors out there that will invest in your company right now if your financials are strong enough. Okay, when you are on the Inc. 5000 or any of these investors call you all the time. And I literally get about 3 to 5 investors solicit me weekly. Do you want to sell the business? Do you want money for the business? So again, the financials or how businesses are evaluated, and knowing this is important to be able to woo those investors. If you know what they're looking for, then you make sure that you have that at the ready. So if you want to raise $1 million, $10 million for your company, $100,000, you have what's needed to be able to do so. And again, you also need to know this for mergers, for acquisitions. Maybe you're actually going to join with another company. Maybe you're going to get acquired. Maybe you want to acquire another company. So these are some of the main reasons that you really need to keep a pulse of what your valuation is regularly. You need to know, hey, here's what it's worth so you can attract investors, so you know how to be able to exit, and also so maybe you can get acquired or acquire other companies. All these things tie in. So there's a few different main methods of evaluating a business. First of all, let me say there's a lot of different methods out there for evaluating a business. But let's talk about 3 of the main ones that are used today that a lot of people that are going to buy your business or invest in your business are using. So first of all, one is called asset-based valuation. So if you're in a business that has a lot of assets, maybe you have real estate, maybe you have heavy equipment, you have a lot of physical assets. Well, this mode of valuation basically calculates the value of your assets and it subtracts out your liabilities. So this is basically really ideal for asset-heavy businesses like manufacturing, right? So one of my buddies, Chips, he owns a manufacturing plant. And if you walk into Chip's plant, man, it's floor to ceiling. I don't know how tall this thing is of inventory. He's got equipment everywhere. So that's an asset-rich company, right? He owns his building. He owns the property. He owns all the equipment. He owns the shelves. He owns the inventory. If he was going to sell that business, then he would want somebody to look at all these assets to be able to figure out what the business is. And with an asset-based valuation, it's pretty simple. What are our assets? What are our liabilities? We subtract them, and that's how we actually determine the valuation of the business. And by the way, if you're just coming in, give me a shout out. Tell me where you are from, your company name, and I'll give you a shout out on the live stream. Like thousands of people will see this as it goes live on all of our social platforms. So second is called market-based valuation. And with market-based valuation, we're looking at what other companies similar to yours have basically sold for. That's what we're looking at. So this works really well in industries with accessible market data, where you might be an insurance company, and there's a lot of insurance companies out there, right? So they can look and see what all the other insurance companies around Florida are selling for example. And then if you are a home insurance company, then what are the other home insurance companies selling for? And that are, what kind of multiple are they selling for, or what are they selling for based on their size? And then we figure out the valuation of your company from there. So this wouldn't work for us at Credit Suite because there's not a lot of other companies in the business credit building space. But again, it could work very well for a company that's in a common industry where there's a lot of comparables for us to look at what those other businesses sold for. Now, the third and the most popular that we hear about type of valuation for a business is what is basically called income-based valuation. And with an income-based valuation, you're basically focusing on the profit or the revenue of the business. So we're looking at things like discounted cash flow, or we're looking at things like capitalization of earnings, really complicated terms we don't need to know about. These are pretty basic. They're even based on a multiple of what your top end revenue is, or a multiple of what your actual earnings or your profit are. Okay, now that multiple is based on your industry. And I talk a lot about industry and choosing an industry that makes you worth more money. So I am in the software industry. So my multiple may be 7 times whatever that number is. So in this kind of valuation, I'm actually looking at what my profits are. Let's say I make $1 million a year in profit. Well, if my multiple is 7 times that for a software company, then I get 7 times that $1 million. So if I generate $1 million in profit in a year, then my business is worth 7 times that, which is $7 million. Now, sometimes with this income-based valuation, we look at the top end. We look at a multiple of revenue, not a multiple of profit. So maybe instead of getting any kind of multiple on profit, I'm getting a multiple on my revenue. Maybe I only want a 2 times multiple of my revenue. And maybe I make $500,000 a year in annual revenue in my company, in my top end revenue. Well, 2 times that is $1 million. Now my company is worth $1 million. So again, this is the most common that I see in my world is income-based valuation. It's based on your revenue. It's based on your profit. It's not based on your assets. It's not based on as much competitor sales. But again, if you are in a heavy asset company like manufacturing, well, then asset-based may work better for you. If you are in an industry that's kind of cookie cutter, and a lot of companies are in that industry that are the same, well, then you might look at market-based valuations. There's enough comps out there to account for what the normal company would sell for. But for the rest of us, which is most of us, we're looking at income-based valuations. We're looking at our value of our business is based on a multiple of our revenue or a multiple of our profit. Now, let me stop here. We've all heard of EBITDA before, right? Hopefully you have. We're talking about basically earnings before like all the taxes are assessed. So when we look at EBITDA, that's what matters to the valuation of your company more than your top end revenue. And I'm telling you this because, well, I'll give you an example. About 2 months ago, I sat on a board in front of the board of advisors. And the board of advisors is my mastermind. There's hundreds of members in there. And I was on the board helping instruct other people of what they could do. They come in, they talk about what they're trying to do with their company, all their stuff, and then we give them advice. And one of the guys came in and said, I'm building this company and I'm trying to make it 10 times bigger than it is. And one of the conversations that we brought up is I said, look, you need to figure out what you want to exit for first. And then stop trying to grow your top end revenue to 10 times where you are. Why don't you focus on growing your profits and increasing your margin? And everybody on the board said, yes. And the reason for that is this guy could be in a rabbit hole for 10 years trying to grow his top end revenue. But if he would just cut expenses, manage things responsibly, he could increase his profits without exponentially increasing his revenue. And then he could still exit for the same amount of money. And right there, we did the math with him. And what he realized was that he didn't need to grow to like $10 million more. He only needed to grow by $2 million to get to his exit price. Why is this important for you? Because so many business owners focus on revenue and not profit. And in our business, profit's all that matters. We have this ego about us where we like to run around and say that we have $1 million business or a $100,000 business or a $10 million business. And it makes us feel good when we say, yeah, I got 30 employees. right? And I make $1 million in revenue. But here's the problem with that. The problem with that is none of that really typically matters into your valuation. Your profits do. So if you focus on retention, if you focus on selling more to your customers, if you focus more on retaining customers, and you focus more, I already said retention, and you focus more on selling more products to the people you already have, that's going to increase your margins. That's going to increase your profits. That's going to increase the value of your business. So if you're really looking for one big thing you could do to increase the value of your business, well, there's a hint, right? You should focus on retaining customers longer, selling more to the customers you already have, increasing the lifetime value of your customer, because if you do that, that increases your profits, and that is the biggest and best thing that you could do to increase the overall value of the company. So that being said, let's talk about factors that actually influence the valuation of your business. These are essential, and here's why. When you know what is calculated and used to be able to determine your valuation, then you know the things to focus your energy on to make your company worth more money. And this is the thing that everybody I've ever talked to that exited a business wish they knew. And they're saying, oh, if I would have known that, if I would have known that, then I would have worked on those things while I had the business to make it worth more money when I actually go to exit. So these are things you can control, you can change, you can work on these things right now, and they make your company worth more money, put more money in your pocket now, and make your business worth more money when you go to raise money for investors or to actually exit and sell. So one, we already talked about it, revenue and profitability. What can you be doing to increase your top end revenue? What can you be doing to bring in more revenue? What can you be doing to increase lifetime value, to increase profit? Again, there's 3 ways you can bring money into a business: get more customers, sell them more often, or sell them more stuff. So most people focus on one. They only focus on marketing the actual business to get more customers. They lose sight of retaining customers and being able to get them to pay longer, and they lose sight of selling those customers more things. And by the way, we have a bolt-on revenue challenge that you should attend. It's in 2 weeks. It's about how to bolt on additional revenue to your business. Let me see if I have something to be able to promote that. If so, whoever's on my team that's here with us, pull up the thing for the bolt-on revenue challenge, and then that way people can register. So this is actually a way you could bolt on more revenue to make your company worth more money. So we want to think about, what do we do to retain people? What can we sell them? How do we get them to buy more often? How do we get them to buy more stuff from us? This will increase our profit and go a long way to our valuation. The next thing is industry trends. Is our industry dying, or is our industry about ready to explode, right? If I'm in the content creation space, I'm in trouble because AI is taking over that position. So again, if I'm trying to sell a company where we write content for people, well, that's going to be harder to be able to do because, again, now AI is writing that content for us. But if I'm in something else, like I'm basically have a company that is teaching and creating prompts for people to use AI, well, then that's explosive right now because AI is explosive, right? Solar is exploding right now as an example, right? So what is your industry trends? Is your industry growing or is it dying? What is happening in the industry that are problems? Is your solution better to solve those problems that people are facing? So industry trends and where the industry is going matter a lot. Nobody wants to kind of invest into something that's going through a slow or quick demise. So you want to make sure that you have an idea of the outlook of what's happening in your industry, because you don't want to be on the decline when you try to sell. It's really hard to sell and you're not going to get your value. If anything, you want to sell at the incline or as top of that peak of people having a demand for what you do. It's because that, again, heavily weighs into the valuation of the business. The next thing is your customer base, right? What is the size of it? Are they loyal? Are they diverse? Do you have all your customers coming from one source? That's a really big problem. Okay, if you come in and say, well, where do you get your customers from? And you're like, well, I get it from influencers that refer business, and they see that 90% of your business comes from one influencer, that's a real problem. That's going to affect your valuation. If you are on a subscription model, how long are you keeping customers? If you give them installments or time to pay you, like they could pay you over 7 months, 8 months, 10 months, how many of them actually pay through? That shows the loyalty of your customer base. So how good are you at getting customers, but how good are you at keeping those customers retained where they're loyal to you? This is a factor into the valuation as well. So again, if you want to be able to make an improvement in this area, then what we want to be doing is focusing on retention. We want to be studying, learning every single thing that we can about retaining customers. And there's some great books out there, and I'll pull one of them up, as a matter of fact, on membership sites that help you do this, that basically help you increase the value of your business. Because again, what they're doing is they're focusing on how you can actually retain customers. And it's called Retention Point. I love this book. This is a book that I've recently read that I think is one of the best books that I read, that I have seen on when it comes to, let me see if I can do this, Retention Point. There it is. I don't know. It's called Retention Point by Robert Skrob, S-K-R-O-B. It's a great book that helps you actually retain customers. And that retention of customers will help you actually be worth more money. The next thing is the brand value. What is the strength of your reputation, the recognition? What intellectual property do you have? Do you have trademarks? Do you have the logos, social media channels that are unique, right? So those are things that are important as well. When people are soliciting you because they want your social media channels or your domain, well, those are pretty good indicators that what you actually have there brand value-wise is high. Is your brand known? What can you do to make your brand worth more money? So instead of just running ads that are direct response to get somebody to opt in, maybe you should consider running ads where you're actually just getting paying a cent or 2 cents or 5 cents a click of a video. Those are good branding ads where you're putting information out there just for the purpose of a lot of people seeing it and engaging, not for the purpose of like getting somebody to opt in and give you their phone number. So again, you should be doing this. Part of your budget should just be for branding. Now you might say, well, Ty, if I put my money in branding, I'm not getting customers out of that. You kind of are. Because if customers come into your ecosystem, they have to usually see you. I think now the science is 16 times before they buy. So when you start doing branding ads to everybody already in your world, maybe they already opted in. Maybe they're hitting your website. There's all kinds of people to be able to run ads to those type of people. And when you do that, now people see you. And the more they see you, the more reputable you are, the more credible you are to be able to buy from. And it also increases the value of your business. So having that brand value, having a recognizable brand, having trademarks, okay, having any process that you get, having copyrights, true copyrights in place, these kind of things increase that brand value. The next thing is operational efficiency. Can your business run without you? How does it actually operate? Okay, look, somebody wants to buy your business. They want to buy a business that can run without you. So from the early stages of your business, you should be creating SOPs, standard operating procedures. Every position in our company has an SOP, and we require the team members to keep up with your SOPs. So that way, if we ever go to exit, well, then every position in our company, we have an SOP for. So even if you remove, 2 people from our company, well, you have the SOPs, you could rehire and put people into those positions. So you need to make sure that you're working on your business, not in your business. Now, in the beginning stage, it's hard to do. You're doing everything. But as quickly as possible, you want AI, technology, automation, virtual assistants to start taking over those tasks. Then you want to start putting A players in the right seats to make sure that those A players are able to then take the reins and then come up with their own initiatives and be able to market and grow. So again, it's not all on you. The more dependent the business is on you, the less likely it is that you're going to exit, because somebody that wants to buy your business knows your business can't run without you. You should be able to be pulled out of the business, leave, vacation a week, 2 weeks, a month, and the business operate the same or maybe even better without you. When you get your business to that point, that is when you really will see an increase of your value. This all comes with proper delegation. It comes with AI. It comes with automation. It comes with basically taking tasks that you would normally do and putting them out. So eventually in your company, your position becomes the leader that teaches other managers under you how to lead and how to manage than it is actually doing the day-to-day stuff. Hand raised. Very hard for me. I'm an implementer. I've got Credit Suite to 8 figures because I implement. I'm a madman when it comes to getting stuff done. Anybody that works with me will tell you that. They're like, I get an unhuman amount of stuff done in a very short period of time. I'm very efficient with getting stuff done. So that's the problem. That's my strength, my superpower, but I can't use that superpower anymore to grow my business. My business is less now about me doing stuff and other people doing stuff for me. And so what that means is it means now I need to rely on other people out there doing stuff, and I'm guiding strategy. So again, this might be your superpower, getting stuff done. You have to step away from that and be able to teach that superpower to others so they're doing the work and you're working on the business and the strategy and not in it. Okay. So on top of that, business assets, what do you have asset wise? Do you have account receivables? Well, that's worth money in your business. If you're letting your customers pay you on terms and I'm going to exit and I have $1 million in AR, well, that makes my business worth more. Do I own the real estate I am? If I'm in a retail shop, I'm going to look to own the building that I buy, because if I own the building that I'm in, I can make rent from the other tenants, turn it into an asset, not a liability, and my company is worth more. So any assets you can accumulate in the business that can be sold with the business, you want to include, including business credit. Business credit is one of the most valuable assets you have, because when you're adding business credit to your company, it stays with the company. If I go get $2 million worth of business credit that's linked to my business EIN, not my social, that's not my personal credit. That's my company's credit. So if I go to value the business and sell it, and I have $2 million worth of credit that the new owner could use to continue to scale, it's going to make my business worth a lot more freaking money, right? So you need to make sure that you have the business assets, because the business assets are going to make your business worth more money. The next is growth potential. And this kind of ties into our conversation on market. What is the potential of your company? Like, are the things that are holding you back, would a buyer be able to come in and be able to remove those barriers and be able to exponentially increase the value? And this is where things get very interesting. So if you look at Credit Suite, for example, we're very good at bringing in a lot of leads, right? We do a lot of marketing. We run $1 million in ad spend. We're very good at getting those leads at the door. Well, if our company is also very good at selling those people other things that aren't our product or services, that makes us worth even more value. Here's what I mean. If we bring it in and we make $1 million a year because we take these people and send them to another company that sets up their entity, send them to another company that does their taxes, send them to another company that does trust and estates planning, and the customers are buying all these services from other companies, well, then it makes our company worth more money, because somebody can come in and see, whoa, not only are you really good at bringing in business owner leads, but you're really good at bringing them in and getting them to buy other people's stuff. And now if I'm a hedge fund and I already have a bunch of other companies that have business to business products, then I know that that hedge fund person could come in and buy Credit Suite, and then they know that they can start selling their other portfolio of products to our customer base and immediately start making a lot more money, right? Maybe we refer all of our customers out to a company to set up entities, and then all of a sudden, somebody comes in that wants to buy our company, and they set up entities. And they're like, oh my gosh, like this Credit Suite's already setting up people with entities through an outside service. We can replace that outside service, and we immediately are making substantial money because we have the products in our arsenal and the other the umbrella of companies we own that those buyers would buy, and vice versa, right? They might say, hey, and by the way, all of our entity companies we set up, they need business credit. So if we buy Credit Suite, well, then we have another product we can sell to our customers that come from entity setup. Then we can take all of Credit Suite's customers and move them over for entity setup. And now all these companies are worth more money, right? That comes from growth potential. So they like to see that not only are you have the ability for your company to grow, that you're growing, and that, there's a big market to serve, and that, if you had more money and more things that you'd be able to do better. But they also like to see that your company can be able to also, the way you do business can help them sell more stuff in their other portfolio of companies. It makes your business just simply worth more money. The next thing is your competitive analysis. Who are your competitors? Yes, you have them. If you're ever trying to raise money from an investor, you don't want to tell them you don't have competitors. At Credit Suite, we're the only company that helps somebody improve fundability, build business credit, and get financing. We're the only one that does all three of those at once. We're the only company that combines coaching and software to do those three things. But if I'm talking to an investor and they say, who are your competitors? Then I'm immediately talking about other companies. I say, well, On Deck is a competitor because they're in the financing space. Are they a direct competitor to us? No, we send loans to On Deck, right? We have our customers financed through On Deck, but they still theoretically are a competitor because we're in the finance space and so are they, right? So we look at NAV, right? Is NAV a direct competitor? No, they sell business credit monitoring, right? But they're still in the business credit space. So you could see them as a competitor, even though we're selling completely different products. So you do have competitors, even though they don't do exactly what you do. Knowing those competitors, knowing your USP, your unique selling proposition is important. I already told you credit suite, right? We're the only ones that improve fundability, build business credit, and get financing. We're the only one that combines those three. That's our USP. So when I'm talking to investors, they say, why are you different from your competition? It's easy for me to say, we're the only one that does these things. We're the only one that does these things and does it through a combination of software and coaching, right? So I know what makes us unique, and I know why our model is more scalable than other people's model. And those are going to be things that our investors or people wanting to buy your hub company are going to want to know. Legal and regulatory compliance. Are you legal? Are you compliance? Are you in compliance? Are you using auto dialers? And are you using like automated voice blasts to just blast phone numbers in complete violation of the TCPA? You can't do that. Is your whole business built on just spamming people instead of actually getting them to opt in and give you permission to email them? Can you do these things? Maybe a little bit and get away. You're breaking the rules. You're probably going to get caught. But if your whole business is based on these models that are broken or you're not in compliance, nobody wants to do that because it doesn't matter. Once they plug in compliance into your company, they don't know how much your company will suffer. So you have to be in compliance, right? You have to be not have legal issues. If you have lawsuits against you and all these things, these are problems. So if you're going to sell a business, you really need to, if you have any outstanding legal issues, you really need to try to get those resolved to make your company worth even more money, okay? And again, even economic climate, which really ties in with what's happening right now. You know, are you a business that's trying to sell in a recession where your business is not equipped for a recession? Are you a business that's on the other end where the economy is doing great and yet your business does bad when the economy is doing great? Well, you want to sell in the cycle that you typically are doing well in. If your business is down in a recession, you probably don't want to wait till you start on a decline towards a recession to try to sell it. You probably want to sell it where you're at the peak, not when you're in an economic environment where your business doesn't typically thrive. So there's a lot of different things I covered there, but all of those things really tie into the value of your business. So what's a handful of things you could do right now to improve the valuation of your business? Well, increase your profit, increase your revenue, do things that are scalable that increase the revenue of your business to show growth, but most importantly, increase those profits by retaining customers longer, by selling more often to your customers and selling them more things. Second, strengthen your customer relationship and diversify your base. Do not let all of your leads and customers come from one or two sources, right? We've seen people on Shark Tank where Mark's like, hey, how do you get your leads? And the guy's like, Facebook ads. And he's like, middle finger, I'm out of here, man. That's not scalable. Well, that's because investors don't want to invest in a business that only has one thing that if broken, the whole business collapse. Okay, so if you're doing Facebook ads, do Facebook, do Google, do LinkedIn, do TikTok, do whatever, but diversify because, again, they want to make sure you're diversifying your marketing methods, the methods you're using to bring customers in, that you have a diverse customer base as well, and that those customers are loyal to you, that you have a tribe, that you have a brand, that they want to be part of your tribe, that when they get with you, they stay with you. So these are all things you want to focus on to strengthen those customer relationships. Number 3, document and streamline your processes. You need to have standard operating processes, SOPs, for every position you have. They should document what they do and how they do it. Okay, you should have as much automation in there, as much AI automation as you can as well. You want to automate as many things and document as many things of how it all works. So if you were like hit by a bus tomorrow, somebody else could come in and take over your business and run it effectively, right? If you think about that, if the CEO of a major corporation like PepsiCo died today, PepsiCo isn't going to collapse because the CEO died, right? PepsiCo is going to be operating just fine. They're just going to bring another CEO into that role because that role is well defined. It's documented of what that role includes. And even if somebody is abruptly removed from that role, they'll just plug somebody else into those processes and continue on. That's exactly what you should have. Number 4, reduce your liability and clean up your financials. There's a lot of accountants out there that work strictly for the purpose of helping businesses understand their valuation and exiting. Find a good tax strategist that can actually help you understand how you can reduce your expenses and your liabilities and how you can clean up your financials so they're appealing to investors. Look, I've had 7- and 8-figure businesses that nobody would invest in because the financials were a mess. You don't want to be in that position. You want to make sure you have clean financials that look appealing to investors, that show growth, that show profitability, that show that you're good at managing money. This is very appealing to future investors. And number 5, invest in your brand's intellectual property, invest in your brand's reputation, run branding ads, focus on growing the brand of your business, focus on getting intellectual properties, getting trademarks, getting patents, getting copyrights. All those things make what you have more unique. Mr. Wonderful on Shark Tank is big on this, right? He comes in and says, well, anybody can copy what you have. Do you have trademarks and patents? No? Well, then I'm out, right? So there's a reason for that, because to make what you do unique, you need trademarks, you need patents, you need intellectual property. Okay, all these things you can accumulate, they all make your business worth more. So there you have it. That's how we evaluate a business. We talked about the major methods to evaluating business. We talked about at least 20 factors that go into valuation of your business. And we talked about a lot of things you could do for each one of those 20 to make your business worth more. Then we wrapped up with 5 major things that you can do right now and along the way to make your business worth more. If you missed any part of this, go back to the platform you're watching on and watch it in its entirety. This is literally a roadmap on making your business worth more money. If you got value from this training, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you also keep your eye out for our next training where we talk about more cool ways to be able to get the money you need and to be able to grow your business. Take care. Have a good day.